Chapter 22, Chemistry, Video 2. Now we are going to try and figure out different methods that we can follow to get details or data that is related to finding out the rate of a reaction. So basically there are two methods that we can follow. One thing is sampling method, the other one is continuous method. So basically the difference between the two is sampling means when the reaction is continuing at different time intervals, we take small samples out of the reaction mixture, then find some particular detail, for example like the concentration which changes. So we can find some kind of a trend sample to sample. When the time goes by, we can find out how it changes. For example, if you take a chemical reaction and if you feel that it has the chemical reaction has taken place in such a way that the concentration has, original concentration was 1 mole per cubic decimeter, then it might, after 5 minutes it would have reduced up to 0.5 mole per cubic decimeter. Then after 10 minutes it would have reduced up to 0.25. So like this there is a reduction in the concentrations. We can take this as a, we can take these measurements using the sampling method. So what do? What we do is we take samples out of the original reaction mixture and then carry out some analysis method, some technique to find the temperature, to find the concentration or some details, some data that would give us give us details as to how the reaction is progressing. So that is sampling method. Then the continuous method is we find out some sort of physical property. For example, in some chemical reactions, the color might change. Then now, for example, here they have given CH3COCH3 plus I2. So in that hydrogen will be one hydrogen will be replaced by iodine, and the color of iodine, the brown color of iodine, will fade away. When this chemical in continuous, this particular chemical reaction takes place, the color will fade away. So when that fades, we can find out using a colorimeter. Colorimeter gives us a reading of the intensity of the color. Using a colorimeter, we can find out how long does it take for the color to disappear or fade. Then another method is conductivity. Some chemical reactions, they would produce ions. Now in this particular reaction, CH3 Cbr plus H2O, that dissociates into producing H plus and Br minus. So the presence of these ions actually results in it becoming a better conductor with time. Higher the concentration of the ions H plus and Br minus, it will allow electricity to pass through. So you must understand, you must remember that the chemicals which contain ions allows electricity to pass through. So when the reaction is proceeding, the conductivity will increase. So if you have a method to measure the conductivity, then you can use that. You can find out how the conductivity increases. So that is a continuous method. You find how the conductivity increases using some method. Then in some chemical reactions, gases are produced. When gases are being produced, we can of course, the old school method or the really simple setup that we set up like this as shown in the figure. We can find out how does the volume increases in here. So that is once again, continuously it will increase. So as a result of that, we can actually get a continuous reading. the change in the volume can be measured. But obviously a gas has to be produced as a result of the chemical reaction. Then in some of them, now for example here, the hydration of methyl propene, the volume actually decreases. So for this particular chemical reaction, we use a dialtometer. So this dialtometer is actually an exceptional situation. Here what we try to figure out is, we have a very small amount of volume being reduced, but that gives us a reading as to how the chemical reaction is progressing and its rate. So when we do that, we have to make sure that certain other conditions are kept constant. Here they are asking the temperature has to be controlled to an accuracy of plus or minus 0.001 degrees Celsius. Why is that? Because if you change the temperature, what happens is the chemical reaction will progress, the rate of the chemical reaction will change. So we have to make sure that the temperature remains constant throughout the chemical reaction. So that is one point that you need to remember. In paper 52, you will be asked questions as to what method can be used to get the data. Then you have to answer these kind of questions.